There's a quiet moment many people don't talk about, when your heart feels ready for love, but your life stays still. You've grown, you've learned, you've let go of things you once thought you couldn't live without, and yet, the one thing you hoped would come by now hasn't. So a question begins to form, not loudly, but deeply. Why is it still not happening for me? And the truth is, it's not just about wanting someone, it's about wanting something that finally feels right, stable, peaceful, real. But what if the delay you're feeling is not a pause? What if it's a process? Because the kind of love that lasts, the kind that doesn't confuse you, drain you, or break you, it doesn't arrive suddenly. It is prepared, slowly, carefully, and not just for you, but within you. Because before life gives you something meaningful, it changes the version of you that will receive it. It reshapes how you think, how you feel, how you choose. So what you're experiencing right now is not being left behind. It's being made ready. And one day, when everything finally comes together, you won't just understand the timing, you'll be grateful for it. Because before that love reached your life, you became someone who could finally hold it without losing yourself. Allah quietly repairs the parts of you that would have broken a beautiful marriage. There are parts of you that you've slowly accepted as just the way you are, but in reality, they were never meant to stay forever. The way your mind keeps overthinking even small things, the way your heart gets afraid when someone gets too close, the way past pain still whispers inside you, even when everything looks fine on the outside. Sometimes you react stronger than the situation. Sometimes you expect too much or fear too much. Sometimes you hold on too tightly because deep down you're afraid of losing again, and you don't even realize it because it feels normal to you. But if Allah gave you your spouse in this state, you would love them, yes, but that love would carry hidden weight. Small misunderstandings would feel big. Silence would feel like rejection. A simple mistake could turn into overthinking, doubt, and distance. And slowly, something beautiful could begin to crack. Not because you didn't love each other, but because you weren't ready yet. So Allah, in His mercy, starts working on you first. Not in a loud way, not in a way you immediately understand, but through life itself. He places you in situations that trigger those hidden emotions, moments where your patience is tested, situations where you feel ignored, misunderstood, or uncomfortable. At times, it feels frustrating. You might even ask, why do I keep going through this again and again? But what you don't see is this. Each moment is revealing something inside you that needs healing. It's showing you where you still overreact, where you still fear too much, where you still depend on people in a way that can hurt you. Allah is not punishing you. He is showing you yourself so you can grow beyond it. Because the love He is preparing for you is not meant to be fragile. It's meant to be peaceful, stable, safe. And that kind of love needs a heart that is calm, secure, and strong. So every test you face right now, every emotional moment, every uncomfortable situation is actually a quiet preparation. Allah is removing what doesn't belong in your future marriage. He is softening your heart, but also strengthening it. So when the right person finally comes into your life, you don't bring fear into the connection. You don't bring past pain into every moment. You don't react from wounds. You respond with understanding. And that's when love feels different. Not heavy, not confusing, but peaceful, the way it was always meant to be. So if you feel like life is exposing parts of you that are uncomfortable to face, don't run from it, because this is not the breaking stage. This is the repair stage, and Allah is fixing what would have silently broken something beautiful later. He teaches you to stand whole on your own, so love doesn't become your weakness. There was a time when your heart felt incomplete without someone. You looked for messages to feel valued. You waited for attention to feel calm. You needed reassurance just to feel okay. And slowly, without realizing it, your peace started depending on people. If they stayed, you felt secure. If they pulled away, your heart felt shaken. This is where love quietly turns into weakness, because when your happiness depends on someone else, you begin to fear losing them more than you trust Allah. You overgive, you overthink, you accept things you shouldn't accept just to keep them close. And deep inside, you lose yourself. So Allah, in His mercy, does something that feels hard at first. He creates distance. Sometimes He removes people. Sometimes He allows silence. Sometimes He puts you in a phase where no one truly understands you the way you want. And in those moments, it feels lonely. You might think, why am I alone when I just want someone good? But this is not punishment. This is preparation, because Allah is teaching your heart something powerful, something you could never learn while depending on people. He is teaching you how to stand on your own. At first it feels uncomfortable. You reach for people, but they're not there like before. You try to fill the space, but nothing feels the same. So slowly, you turn somewhere else. You turn to Allah. You begin to sit with yourself more. You begin to understand your own emotions. You begin to calm your own heart without needing constant reassurance. And over time, something beautiful begins to happen. You don't feel as desperate for attention. You don't feel as afraid of being alone. You don't feel like your happiness is controlled by someone else's presence. You start feeling whole, not because someone completed you, but because Allah strengthened you. And this changes everything, because when your spouse finally enters your life, you won't love them from a place of emptiness. You won't expect them to fix you. You won't depend on them for every piece of your peace. Instead, you will love them from a place of stability. You will choose them, not cling to them. You will appreciate them, not fear losing them every moment. Your love will feel calm, not anxious, strong, not fragile, because you are no longer looking for someone to complete you. You are already whole. And when two whole people come together, that's when love becomes balanced. That's when it becomes healthy. That's when it lasts. So if you feel like Allah is pulling you into a phase where you are learning to be alone, don't see it as emptiness. See it as strengthening, because Allah is removing your dependence on people, so your heart only depends on Him. And when your heart depends on Allah, no love in this world can ever become your weakness again. Allah removes what feels right to protect what is truly written for you. Some of the most painful moments in your life were not moments of loss. They were moments of protection. There were people who felt right to you. The connection felt easy. The conversations felt natural. Your heart felt attached, almost certain that this is the one. You made dua for them. You imagined a future with them. You tried to hold on, even when things started to feel off. And then, suddenly or slowly, it ended. They changed. They pulled away, or everything just fell apart in a way you couldn't control. And in that moment, it didn't feel like Allah was protecting you. It felt like something precious was taken from you. You questioned everything. Why did Allah bring them into my life if they were going to leave? Why did it feel so real if it wasn't meant to be? And the hardest part, your heart didn't agree with what happened, because what you felt right. But here is a truth that takes time to understand. Not everything that feels right is written right for you. Sometimes your heart chooses based on emotion, but Allah chooses based on your future. Your heart sees the moment. Allah sees the outcome. Your heart sees how they make you feel. Allah sees how they would shape your life, your peace, your akhirah. And sometimes what feels right in the moment would have brought quiet damage later. Maybe you would have lost your peace trying to keep them. Maybe you would have ignored your values just to stay close. Maybe you would have built your world around someone who was never meant to stay. So Allah, in His mercy, removes them, not because you didn't deserve love, but because you deserved a better kind of love. A love that doesn't confuse you. A love that doesn't pull you away from Him. A love that doesn't leave you questioning your worth. But here's what makes it so difficult. Allah doesn't always remove them before you feel something. Sometimes He lets you feel the attachment first. So when it's taken away, it hurts deeply. Why? Because that pain creates clarity. It teaches you what you truly need. It shows you what you should never ignore again. It reshapes your understanding of love. Without that experience, you might have accepted less, thinking it was enough. So even that pain had a purpose. And slowly, As time passes, you begin to see things you couldn't see before. You realize the red flags you once ignored. You understand why certain things never felt fully peaceful. You see how much you were trying just to make it work. And you begin to accept something your heart once resisted, that Allah didn't take something good away from you. He saved you from something that only looked good, but wasn't meant for you. Because what is truly written for you will not require you to chase it with fear, will not make you feel unstable, will not constantly test your worth. It will come with clarity, with ease, with a sense of peace your heart recognizes immediately. So if someone was removed from your life, and it still confuses you, don't rush to label it as loss. Sit with it, because one day you will look back at that moment, and instead of asking, "Why did it end?" you will quietly say, "Alhamdulillah, it didn't continue." Because Allah was not taking something away from you. He was protecting what is truly written for you, even when your heart wasn't ready to understand it yet. He builds a depth of sabr in you that can carry love through its hardest days. Marriage is often imagined as comfort, closeness, and constant happiness. But the truth is, real love is not tested when everything feels easy. It is tested in the moments when emotions rise, when misunderstandings happen, when two different hearts, with different habits and different pasts, try to live as one. And in those moments, what holds everything together is not just love. It is sabr, the ability to pause instead of react, the strength to stay calm when your emotions want to take over, the patience to understand even when you feel misunderstood. If sabr is weak, even small issues can feel heavy. A delayed reply becomes overthinking. A small disagreement becomes distance. A bad day becomes something personal. And slowly, without sabr, love begins to feel exhausting instead of peaceful. So before Allah gives you a relationship like that, He begins to build something inside you, a deeper patience. And He does it in a way that doesn't feel easy, through waiting, through delays that test your heart, through situations where things don't happen the way you want, through moments where you feel like you have no control. At times, it feels frustrating. You might think, "Why is everything taking so long? Why do I have to keep being patient?" But this waiting is not empty. Every moment you choose to stay calm instead of breaking is building your strength. Every time you trust Allah instead of rushing, your heart becomes steadier. Every delay you survive without losing hope increases your capacity to handle what's coming, because patience is not just about waiting quietly. It's about growing stronger while you wait. It's about learning how to carry emotions without letting them control you, and slowly, something changes inside you. You don't react the same way anymore. You don't panic as quickly. You don't feel shaken by every small shift. You become calmer, more grounded, more stable. And this is exactly what your future marriage needs. Because there will be days when your spouse is not at their best. Days when things don't go as planned. Moments when understanding each other takes effort. And in those moments, your sabr will protect the relationship. Instead of reacting harshly, you will pause. Instead of assuming the worst, you will choose understanding. Instead of letting ego take over, you will choose peace. That is what keeps love alive. Not perfection, but patience. So if you feel like your life right now is full of waiting, delays, and moments that test your patience, don't see it as something holding you back. See it as something building you, because Allah is not just making you wait for love. He is making you ready for love. He is strengthening your heart so that when love finally enters your life, you don't lose it over small things. You protect it with sabr that was built in the quiet, difficult moments you once didn't understand. And one day, you will realize those delays were not slowing your life down. They were strengthening your heart so it could carry something beautiful without breaking. Allah pulls you closer to Him so your marriage is rooted in faith, not feelings. Our feelings. Before Allah gives you someone to lean on, He teaches you how to lean on Him. There comes a phase in your life where people stop filling the space in your heart the way they used to. Conversations feel empty. Attention doesn't satisfy you the same way. Even when someone is there, something still feels missing, and you don't fully understand why, because you're not looking for just connection anymore. Your heart is being redirected. So Allah slowly pulls you closer to Him, not by force, but through moments you can't ignore, through nights where your thoughts become heavy, through silence where no one truly understands what you're feeling, through situations where people can't give you the peace you're searching for. And in those moments, you turn to Him. At first, maybe out of need, you make dua because you're tired. You pray because you're overwhelmed. You speak to Allah because there's nowhere else to go. But slowly, that connection changes. It becomes deeper. You begin to feel something you didn't feel before. A calmness after speaking to Him, a softness in your heart after prayer, a quiet peace that doesn't depend on anyone's presence. And without realizing it, Allah becomes your first source of comfort. This is where everything begins to shift, because now your heart is no longer searching for someone to fix it. It is connected to the one who created it, and this changes the way you see love. You don't just want someone who makes you happy. You want someone who protects your deen, someone who reminds you of Allah, someone who brings peace into your life, not confusion, because you've tasted what real peace feels like, and you no longer want anything that takes you away from it. This is why Allah pulls you closer to Him before your marriage, because if your heart is empty, you will try to fill it with a person, and that kind of love becomes heavy. You expect too much, you depend too much, you feel lost when things are not perfect. But when your heart is already connected to Allah, your love becomes lighter, balanced, healthy. You don't expect your spouse to be everything, because Allah already holds the place that no human ever could. And that is what protects your marriage, because feelings change. There will be days when emotions are not strong, moments when things feel distant. But when your marriage is built on faith, it doesn't collapse when feelings fade. It stays steady, because both hearts are connected to something greater than themselves. So if you feel like Allah is bringing you closer to Him in this phase of your life, don't see it as something separate from your future. This is part of your future, because Allah is not just preparing your spouse. He is preparing your connection with Him, so your marriage is not built on temporary emotions, but on something that lasts. And one day, when you sit beside the person written for you, you will realize something beautiful, that the peace you feel in that marriage is not just because of them. It's because Allah was already living in your heart before they arrived. He reshapes your heart until it recognizes what is right, not just what is desired. At one point in your life, you had your own idea of what love should look like. You were drawn to certain qualities, certain personalities, certain types of people who made your heart feel something strong, and you thought, this is what I want. But over time, something begins to change. What once impressed you slowly loses its effect. What once excited you starts to feel empty, and what you once ignored begins to feel important. You don't always notice it happening, but your heart is being reshaped, because desire and what is right for you are not always the same thing. Sometimes you are attracted to what is familiar, not what is healthy. Sometimes you want what feels intense, not what feels peaceful. And sometimes your heart is drawn to people who reflect your past, not your future. So Allah in His mercy begins to refine your heart, not by simply telling you what is right, but by letting you experience what is not. You go through connections that don't last. You feel the confusion of something that looks good, but doesn't feel stable. You experience the difference between attention and real care. And slowly, your understanding deepens. You begin to see beyond surface-level attraction. You start valuing things you once overlooked. Consistency over charm, respect over excitement, peace over intensity, because you realize what looks beautiful from the outside is not always peaceful on the inside, and what feels calm is often where real love lives. This is how Allah trains your heart. He doesn't just change what you receive, He changes what you are attracted to. So when the right person finally comes into your life, you don't choose them just because they make your heart race. You choose them because your heart feels safe. You recognize something deeper, a sense of ease, a clarity you didn't have before, a feeling that you don't need to question everything, and that recognition is not random. It is the result of everything Allah has been teaching you, because a heart that hasn't been reshaped might reject what is good for it and accept what will harm it. But a heart that has been guided knows the difference. So if you feel like your preferences are changing, if you feel like what you once wanted no longer feels right, don't confuse that with loss. This is growth. Allah is aligning your heart with your destiny. He is removing your attraction to what would have distracted you and increasing your appreciation for what will actually bring peace into your life. Because what is written for you is not just someone you desire, it is someone who is right for you. And Allah is preparing your heart, so when that person arrives, you don't overlook them, you recognize them, and you choose them with clarity, not confusion, with peace, not pressure, with certainty, not doubt, because your heart has finally learned the difference between what it wants and what it truly needs. Allah prepares you in silence because what He is writing for you is too precious to be rushed. There is a kind of silence that feels empty, and then there is a kind of silence that is full of unseen work. Right now, you may feel like nothing is happening. Days pass, nothing changes, no clear signs, no clear answers. You make dua, but the response doesn't come the way you expected. You wait, but the moment doesn't arrive, and slowly your heart begins to ask, is anything even being written for me? But what you don't see is this: the most important things in your life are not prepared in front of your eyes. They are written in silence, because what Allah is preparing for you is not something ordinary. It is something delicate. It is a connection between two hearts, two lives, two journeys that have never met yet, but are already being aligned. And something like that cannot be rushed, because if it comes too early, you might not recognize it. If it comes too soon, you might not be ready to protect it. If it comes before its time, it might not last. So Allah chooses silence, not because nothing is happening, but because everything is happening in a way you cannot see. He is shaping the person who is meant for you. He is guiding them through their own lessons, their own growth, their own preparation. At the same time, He is shaping you through your waiting, through your experiences, through the quiet changes in your heart that even you don't fully notice. And all of this is happening without noise, without announcements, without immediate results, because some things are too valuable to be rushed into your life. They must be built slowly, carefully, perfectly, and silence protects that process. Because if you saw everything clearly, you might interfere, you might rush, you might choose too quickly, you might settle for something that only looks close but isn't truly written for you. So Allah keeps you in a space where you trust Him without seeing everything. And this is where your faith deepens. You learn to believe without proof. You learn to wait without certainty. You learn to stay calm even when everything feels still. And that kind of trust transforms your heart, because now you are no longer rushing life. You are walking with Allah through it. And one day, the silence will break. Not slowly, but suddenly. You will meet someone, and something inside you will feel different. Not chaotic, not confusing, but calm, clear, right. And in that moment, you will realize something that will soften your entire heart. That all this silence was never emptiness. It was preparation. Every quiet day, every delayed moment, every unanswered question was part of something being written with care. So if your life feels silent right now, don't mistake it for absence, because Allah is not absent from your story. He is writing it in a way so precise, so beautiful, that it had to be done in silence, because what He is preparing for you is too precious to ever be rushed. So if your heart feels tired, if the waiting has started to feel heavy, don't rush to escape this moment, because this moment is not empty. It is full of unseen mercy. Every delay you didn't understand, every person who left, every night you questioned, when will it happen for me? None of it was random. Allah was not ignoring you. He was protecting something you haven't seen yet by preparing you for it first. And one day, without warning, everything will come together. You will meet someone, And it will not feel like the past. It won't feel forced. It won't feel confusing. It won't feel like you have to chase or prove your worth. It will feel calm, like your heart finally found where it belongs. And in that moment, you won't just be grateful for what you received. You will be grateful for every delay, every heartbreak, every unanswered dua, because you will finally understand, if it came earlier, it wouldn't have been right. If it stayed before, it wouldn't have lasted. If things went your way, you might have lost something better. So trust this. What Allah is writing for you is not late. It is being prepared. And when it reaches you, it will not break you, confuse you, or leave you questioning. It will feel like peace, written exactly for your heart. So don't lose hope now, because you are not just waiting for love. You are being prepared for a love that will finally feel like home.